Coming up next on the Union Label will be a conversation with Kyle Henderson, business manager of Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 184 here in Paducah. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
You all and the college recently got national recognition for a green energy program. Congratulations for that, by the way.
Thank you.
And so since then, you and the college are getting together to come up with a 2-year college degree program. Let's talk about the college degree program first, then we'll go back and talk about the green energy program that sort of got the ball rolling. So what exactly are you and the college about to do?
Well, we're embarking on a 2-year associate's degree. Will actually be a 2-year degree that our members will receive through, it's actually an associate's in applied science through apprenticeship studies. And, you know, our guys go to school for 5 years, so, you know, through the 5-year apprenticeship, 246 hours a year, you know, that's quite some time to go through training or to go through school. So what we've worked out with the college and other locals throughout the state, not only throughout the state but throughout the United States, have come up with different plans much like this, and it gives us credit for the time that we serve.
Did they also work at community colleges?
Yes. Yeah, this is all done through community colleges. Our organization actually works through Washtenaw Community College as well on a national level.
And where is that?
That's in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Okay. So the program then will be for apprentices as well as journeymen? Yeah,
anybody that's a member of our organization will be more than welcome to take this challenge, so to speak.
Do you have a target date on when you all would like to do this?
No, you know, we wanted to get started not too long ago, but of course, you know, this will be just like college. And you know, through the rough times that we've had in the past few years, I kind of held off on starting it. Now, this is something that we've been actually exploring, so to speak, for 3 years now.
Well, okay. Well, back then to the green energy program, you all have, as I said, got national recognition for this. You went to Bluegrass Community College in Lexington.
Yes.
And met a bus carrying 2 VIPs. Who were the VIPs and what did they have to say to you all?
Well, of course, we met Dr. Jill Biden, who I guess would be the second lady.
Second lady. I think I've seen that term.
And
right.
We also met the United States Secretary of Labor, Hilda Solis. And I believe they called it a college to career bus tour.
Right.
And
did they stop any place in Kentucky other than Bluegrass, or do you know? This was their own
they
stop.
started a little further north, and of course Dr. Biden is a college professor at a community college. So she is, you know, probably one of the biggest spokeswomen that that community colleges have, and that is probably one of the main reasons that this administration, this current administration, is so, I guess, enthused and excited about community colleges and getting folks to community college, not only for more or less general studies, but actually for trades as well, chemical engineering, things like that, that will help us here in this area maintain good jobs for our folks, you know, that live in this area.
Right, right. Well, getting back to the program, the 2-year degree program that will be coming up, will they take courses on campus and at your facility in Reedland, or both?
We may swap that up, and we'll do a lot of online courses as well too. I think that would be a little easier for some of our guys, you know, because our work, you know, you don't know that you're always going to work 8 hours a day.
Right.
You know, when something breaks in a chemical plant or at a business, you know, a restaurant, you're working.
Right, right, right. Well, let's talk a little about you. I usually open these programs up with the same question, and that is, tell us what the union movement has meant to you as an individual and to the working class in general.
Well, I'm a second generation pipe fitter.
And your dad's name?
Sam Henderson.
Right, of course.
So me being a second generation pipe fitter, the union movement to me has provided for me my entire life, and for my family as well. And you know, I guess as far as me and the union movement, in my opinion, in the future, I was brought up with kind of my feeling is you want to leave things better than you found them. So now that I've got my chance to leave my mark, so to speak, on the labor movement, I just hope that I can leave the people that follow me, you know, I hope I can leave them something better than I had, which that's probably going to be pretty tough to do, because the folks that handed the baton to me, so to speak, you know, they left it pretty good for me. So those are going to be tough shoes to fill.
Well, of course, your dad, his legacy lives on in the Samuel Henderson building, which is the area council hall, and he was killed in an industrial accident.
Yeah.
A number of years ago.
89.
89. Yeah, yeah. So your career began when?
1998.
Out of high school?
Out of high school.
And
I began my apprenticeship in 1998. Graduated, of course, in May, and started my apprenticeship August of 98.
Well, do most of the people who go through your apprenticeship program, are they right out of high school, or do they come later? Or
you know, years ago they were. You know, years ago you would not have gotten into our apprenticeship program after the age of 21. You know, especially not after the age of 25. But to be honest with you, when I began my apprenticeship program, there were 21 of us selected. In my first year apprenticeship class, I was by far the youngest person in that class. You know, I was 18, and the closest person to my age was probably 25, and we had two guys that were 49.
Never too old to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, describe then the apprenticeship program as it is now. What do you study? What do you take? Of course, your facility is out there at Reedland.
Yeah.
And it's got classrooms in it.
Yeah, we've got about a 14,000 square foot facility. Starting out a first year apprentice, we'll start out with a heritage course. I think that it is very important to start out with a heritage course, because to get where you're going, I think you have to know where you came from. So, you know, we have several different videos from the UA, the United Association. You know, that's our international. We have several different videos that the guys and gals watch from our organization, but I actually have picked out a few of my own. I actually make them watch Matewan.
Oh,
you
absolutely,
know,
yeah.
To show them the struggles and the hard times that people had.
I used Matewan as extra credit in my history class, absolutely.
So
this is labor history.
Right, and then of course
well, I
we go
certainly
in,
hope that you decide to do that with your 2-year degree program.
Yeah, I think so, and you know, maybe with some, we do a lot of math within our training, as you know, already.
Couldn't help you with that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but first year you'll do basic math, you know, stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, why is math important?
Math is extremely important for us because, you know, when you look at piping and stuff run throughout buildings, you see a lot of angles. You know, we deal with a lot of angles.
Right.
You know, a pipe is round.
Yes.
So a lot of circumference, radius.
Right.
You know, everything that we do has an angle. You know, some people look at a 90 and think that's just a 90. But, you know, we miter different angles, and everything that we do, there's a formula for it. So geometry, trigonometry, very much involved in our trade.
Well, you know, I had the previous president of the IBEW 816, it's terrible, I'm forgetting his name. he talked about how you had to have algebra for their electricians program. I mean, wow, that just blew me away. So, well, that would leave me out right there. I'm afraid I'd just have to say, no, I can't do that. I can't do basic math.
Right.
I'm a word person. So you studied a lot of math. That's interesting.
Yeah, and fractions. I mean, you know, when you're measuring something, you know, everything, you know, there's always a fraction.
Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
I would like to say that everybody has that when they come to us, but, you know, there are some basic things that, you know, that I think have been overlooked in the high schools, in the trade schools and stuff like that. How a young man or a young woman can come out of high school and not have ever read a tape measure or a stick rule or measuring tape for that matter. It's kind of baffling.
Right. Now, before we go on, you're going to have to help me remember. This guy succeeded Gary C. as the business manager out there.
Greg Hobgood.
Greg Hobgood, of course, and I apologize to Greg for forgetting his name, but you understand I'm 62 years old and I tend to do this sort of thing. Yes, it was Greg Hobgood. Indeed, he was, and we talked about that, and that amazed me that they had to have algebra for that. So after you go through the math, then what do you study?
Then it's more or less, you know, we have, of course, pipe fitters and welders and plumbers, and we have HVAC service technicians. So upon getting through your first year, the second year you will move toward the entity, you know.
A specialization.
You will do it, yeah. We will put you more or less where you want to go. You know, if this guy came in as a plumber or a pipe fitter or an HVAC service technician, more or less that's where they'll go their second year. And we do that because a lot of times it will take a guy, you know, a couple years in a welding booth to get good enough to take a welding certification test and to pass them. So after that, then we may move him. You know, he may want to learn plumbing or HVAC or something like that. And we also have a pipe fitting layout class, you know, blueprint, drawing isometrics, things like that, because everything that we build comes from some sort of drawing.
Well, now, what was your specialty then?
I was a welder. Still am.
Yeah.
And people still ask me what I do. I'm a pipe fitter. I'm not the business manager. I'm a pipe fitter.
That, of course, that's another thing. Your local, UA, of course, is the umbrella organization, but some locals are called plumbers and pipe fitters. Some are called plumbers.
And it just depends on your charter. You know, steam fitter was you know, we talked about this on the last show. You know, steam fitter was kind of an old term. You know, because you had steam engines. You know, you had
steam pipes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, which fed a steam engine or something like that. So, you know, some people have gone and changed their name. You know, and to be honest with you, we've got straight line plumbing locals that are just plumbers. We have straight line HVAC locals that all they have are HVAC service technicians. So.
Now, explain to you also a little more about UA. It's an umbrella organization. Exactly what does that encompass?
That encompasses, well, like I said, you know, we've got pipe fitters, plumbers, HVAC service technicians, and sprinkler fitters. Right.
Now, there's a sprinkler fitters separate union, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah. I ran across them. In fact, there was a chart I ran across. The ones who are local.
669.
Yeah, and they're out of what, Columbia, Maryland?
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. That must be a huge local.
Yeah, it is.
So obviously, too, as you go through your apprenticeship program, a lot of it's hands-on.
Yeah.
You're working in various.
We have class time. We have lab time, and we have about 90 apprentices at our school currently.
Now, how do you apply for the apprenticeship? You obviously have to have an application, but is there certain times of the year you take them?
Yeah, we always have or you can pick up an application the first 2 weeks. Well, actually, I say the first 2 weeks. The first 10 working days of July. You pick up an application, you fill it out, follow the directions, hopefully that are on it, and turn it back in, and then we have interviews in August, usually second week of August. And that usually takes, you know, a couple, 2 or 3 days.
And then as far as the selection process, how does that go?
We have a score. You know, we score the applicants as they come through. personal traits, experience, things like
Is
that.
it a committee?
Yeah.
Yeah. It does
Our apprenticeship committee, a lot of people call them a JAC or a JATC.
Right.
But anymore, I try to get away from the term apprenticeship school because, to be honest with you, we train just as many journeymen as we train apprentices. So we have journeymen coming back to our training center, is what I like to call it.
Mm-hmm.
We have journeymen coming back to our training center to receive continuing education or to further their education.
And of course, we've talked about this before too, is the trade has evolved so much. And of course, that's a good segue into the green energy.
Right.
When I was a kid, we used to get a kick out of going and watching them build houses.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we always enjoyed doing is watching them melt the lead for the pipes. And I don't think that's done anymore, is
Well,
it?
you don't even do that on a plumbing test anymore.
Right.
You used to pour a lead joint.
Yeah, and they would. And we thought that was really cool to watch them do that. And then, of course, there would be a little bit of lead left over. And we always would take that. They'd give it to us. We thought that was really cool to have
Right.
this stuff.
Of course.
But the technology, and of course, I know very little about plumbing, but I do know a lot of plastic pipes as opposed to cast iron pipes,
Right.
and that's all changed. So how then did the green energy program fit into that?
Well, as the green energy, in my opinion, as the green energy sector, as it evolves, we of course have to evolve with it, or we're going to be left behind. And a lot of the green discussion has to do with plumbing and HVAC, and a lot of electrical. But one of the biggest issues when you talk about green technology, and you've seen it throughout the course of time, it talks about water saving. Used to, a toilet used a lot more water than it does today to flush. So they even have waterless urinals. They found out that they don't work very well, but they're on the right track.
Right.
And with this big push for recycling in general, your paper, your plastic, your cardboards, glass, so on and so forth, they're actually wanting to recycle water. We were doing something like rainwater harvesting, and I can't remember the actual number, but it was a vast amount of water that you could catch on a 2,000 square foot roof in a 2-inch rain.
Right.
It was
Yeah. That's
several hundred gallons.
right.
So gray water recycling, just the water that you use to wash your hands.
Yeah. Yeah. So then how did you and the school hook up on this program?
Well, the Department of Labor, and that's more or less how we got hooked in with the United States Secretary of Labor and Dr. Jill Biden. The DOL put out a Going Green grant, and there had been a lot of different entities throughout the state that had received grant money from the Workforce Investment Board. No unions, period. So I contacted a lady within the Workforce Investment Board named Sheila Clark.
That's here in Kentucky.
Yes, who was very instrumental in I guess, actually getting me motivated to go after this grant. So I was bound and determined that we were going to get a grant like this. There was money out there, and I felt like that there wasn't another program out there that was as worthy as ours. We spend a lot of money on training our members yearly. And when I say a lot of money, we probably spend $400,000 a year on training. That's just that's not consumables or anything else. That's just on training. That's just the nuts and bolts of it. So I guess after that, the college actually was going to go after the grant as well because they felt like that they had a good program. So I guess at that time Dr. Poppy was next door, and she called me and she said, "I heard you're going after this grant." And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, why don't we do it together?" So Dr. Poppy, myself, and Dr. Freeman burnt some midnight oil, and Actually, we only had a few days to put it together. So we put it together, and about 4 months later, we found out that we had it. So, and it was a grant for about $1 million. So that was that was for us. That was monumental.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So then, what are the nuts and bolts of how this works?
We have to, our organization was already ahead of the game. Okay, they had a green awareness certification that actually, highlighted your license that you already had, whether it was a Kentucky HVAC journeyman license, a journeyman Kentucky plumbing license. So what this did was you got the training in the sustainable energy that you needed in order to service, install, and repair the newer equipment and the newer and use the newer applications. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of.
Now that was through this certification through the union.
That was through the union.
Mm-hmm.
So we just incorporated that
mm-hmm.
into the grant, and we're going to turn out about 246 people with that certification.
And they'll be graduating when?
Well, some of them aren't apprentices. Some
okay.
of them, a lot of those are journeymen.
Right, right. Now again, for our audience, what's the difference between an apprentice and a journeyman?
Well, an apprentice, of course, comes in, and we have different pay our pay is graduated, but an apprentice comes in, and in order to fulfill a year of apprenticeship, you have so many work hours and so many training hours. And of course, we have different rules as well about discipline. No one wants somebody that isn't disciplined, coming to their house and servicing their air conditioner or installing some plumbing or anything like that. Mm-hmm. The public in general doesn't mm-hmm. want that. So we have a drug testing program that in my opinion, is second to none.
Mm-hmm. So you all, in effect, police yourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when do you become a journeyman then?
5 years of apprenticeship, unless you may have been set back or something along the way, but it's 5 years, 246 hours of training per year.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now in the old days, wasn't there actually a master's rating?
Yeah, there may have been. Now there are still master plumbers,
right?
Master HVAC technicians.
Yeah.
And of course, you have to be a master in order to have a business.
Now, is
to
that
pull a permit for a job?
Does the union have? Is that a rank from the union master?
No. It probably was years ago.
I think it was,
yeah.
because you went through a period of apprentice to journeyman to master.
Right.
Going way back.
Yeah.
But so you could now be, well, Larry Sanderson, who retired, he would be a journeyman when he retired. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Larry. He's retired.
Yeah.
After all these years, was he going to the lake a lot and doing a lot of crazy
no,
things?
No, he's fixing up his garage a little bit.
Okay. Well, we discussed before the program started, maybe he could rekindle his acting career.
Yeah.
That would be a possibility.
That would be something good for him to dive back into.
It would be. So, your future with you're the they used to call you guys business agents.
Right.
When did they stop doing that and why?
We had a business agent and an assistant business agent.
Okay.
And just the way things evolve.
Because back in Larry's day, he was BA.
Right.
Yeah.
And people still use that term.
Yeah.
I'll see people and they'll say, "Well, you still BA," and of course, I don't. I don't go into the whole.
Right.
Right. That's an old term, but
it is.
I do have someone that works under me, and he is a business agent.
So
yeah. That was kind of so you didn't have an assistant.
Right.
And a BA and assistant BA. You could have two different titles, of course. You could have a business manager and a business agent.
It seems to me that just in looking that all the skilled trade unions, they call them business managers now.
Right.
And then, of course, in the business agents is the assistant from that. Of course, Larry went up the ladder.
Right.
Do you want to go higher than you are?
I'm not going to say that I wouldn't, but you know, I'm pretty content with the job that I have currently, and you know, to be honest with you, I'd hate to leave the guys that I've got.
Now, you're elected
Right.
for how many year term? Your term
3
is
years.
3-year terms. Doing
Just
it.
had an election in December the 10th.
And congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your victory.
So I just started my second term.
So, and you can serve unlimited terms?
Yeah.
No term
Right.
limits?
Until you get into the international, until you go up to the international, and the international, they have a bylaw that you can't run after the age of 65.
Right. Okay. Well, what do you, in the time we have left, which is about 3 minutes, what do you think makes a good business manager?
Someone creative, you know, someone that can think outside the box, so to speak, because there is no boilerplate manual for the job. And you know, I feel like that you have to have that fire in your belly, you know, the desire to get out there and to do the right thing and to represent the members that elected you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the big thing. To always, you know, to always remember that, you know, you're put there to make decisions, but not the easy ones. So
Well put. And I think, too, any job that's a leadership position, be it politics or a union president or business manager, is, on the one hand, you've got to do what the people want you to do, but then there are situations where you have to make an executive decision.
that's right. You have to do the right thing.
Yes.
And it's what you feel is right.
And suffer the consequences, good or bad, from that. And I think that's a tough thing to do, obviously.
Yeah, it is.
Because in a democracy, because in a union, everyone is elected, are they not?
That's right.
From well, do you all have stewards and?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stewards are put out on the jobs by the business manager.
Okay. Yeah. And how many members are in your local?
750.
Wow. All over this area.
Yeah.
From as far north, south, east, and west as?
Well, Fulton County to Christian County and Fort Campbell Military Base.
And
Far western Kentucky.
Illinois?
No.
Just
all Kentucky.
Just in Kentucky.
14 counties in far western Kentucky.
Okay. And so, and then do you all have monthly meetings?
Yeah.
How many members do you have to come to your meetings?
Usually around 110.
How do you get such a good turnout?
Well, a lot of the as a rule, like I was saying in those in the discipline of apprenticeship, apprentices have to attend 50% of our union meetings.
That's a we should go on. We're out of time now, and that would get into the good stuff, because I've had so many union presidents on this program, and one of the biggest headaches they have, is getting people to come out to monthly meetings.
Right.
Well, we'll leave it with that. You'll have to come back again.
I will. Looking forward to it.
My guest today was Kyle Henderson, business manager, Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 184. I'm Barry Craig. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.